I must apologize for the absence of my colleague, Mr. Ramakrishnan here. Basically, I speak about what he does. Therefore, he is probably busy doing the thing that I'm going to speak to you about. I would like to give you a case study. It's a true life case study of something that happened in India and that continues to happen, and that contributes substantially to the Millennium Development Goal. It talks about almost 10 million people, which, if my math serves right, is 10% of the 1.2 billion people who are going without water and sanitation in the world. It has been happening for the last few years, so far quietly, unsung, unheard, and untold. But I think the world must know now, because it's a very large number. What a single, simple local action has done to such a large number of people, the world must know, because at stake here is human advancement without dignity, with honor, and with everything. There are several factors that is unique about this case here. One is the scale of massive project. We are talking about a massive project that literally saved the life of 1 million people initially and 10 million ultimately. It had innovative financing. Government failed to deliver, private initiative took over. Thirdly, it's a cooperative endeavor. It involved a non-government office, government, beneficiary community, and then the executive agency. It has been provided sustainability over the last 10 years and has established a new benchmark of efficiency all this time. It happened in a place called Anantapur district in India. It is the second most arid district in India, involving 3.6 million people. 3 perennial rivers, constantly dry, cruise through the state. The region is a victim to erratic rains, frequent droughts. Heavy withdrawal of scarce groundwater basically has resulted in substantially lowering the water table. Of the 14 occurrences of famine in the country, 11 of them have taken place in this district. Additional problem is the brackish groundwater accompanied by excess fluoride. You see 2 children here affected by fluoride. 60% of the households in this district survive with an annual income, of $1 a day. The problem is endemic throughout the region. For decades, getting a drop of pure water was like manna from heaven. Living was drudgery, trekking long distances in the harsh, ungiving heat to draw water from highly polluted, stagnant pools. The elected government was not oblivious to the problem, but the odds were overwhelming. They had neither the resources nor the effort to solve the problem. Into this scene stepped in Sri Sathya Sai Central Trust, a non-profit, non-government organization. Recognizing that provision of drinking water is the sole responsibility of the government, the founder of this trust, Sathya Sai Baba, reached out to the Prime Minister of the country and the Chief Minister of the state. Empathizing with the parched life of the people and feeling that the villagers should never have to trek for something which should flow from the taps in their homes, he reached them. But despite making commitments, the government could not honor any of their commitments. Deeply anguished that large areas of water areas still went without drinking water, he declared not only will he find the funds for a comprehensive water supply project, but he will also set in motion the execution and subsequent management of this project. What followed was a successful experiment in the public-private partnership that can serve as a standing model of local action that delivered the Millennium Development Goals. Through this local action, water was provided to 1 million people and subsequently enlarged in other areas to about 10 million people who were living all along on the edge of drought and despair. It was a massive project. When the project was completed, it covered 20,000 square kilometers of area, 740 villages, total population of 1 million, design population of 1.25 million, and the project costs were $70 million The purpose was to provide 60 million liters of water per day. Technologically, there are a combination of 4 schemes: the comprehensive protected water supply, and infiltration well scheme. They all used 40% of groundwater and 60% of surface water. And some of the statistics were amazing. Among other things, these are all some of the statistics in building this one single project. 2,500 kilometers of pipelines were laid across the fields, beneath the railway tracks, through forests and even streets. In one pipe branch, water was lifted about 200 meters through several intermediate reservoirs. Almost 2,500 tons of cement and 10,000 kilowatt of power was basically used. It's not a technological superiority that I'm talking about. What I'm basically talking about is this was a massive project which was done by local action, not a fly-by-night operation. A project of this magnitude was made operational in a period of 6 months and completed in 16, 2 months ahead of schedule. Considering the topography of the district, this was unbelievable performance. And the remarkable feature is that the initiative for this and the leadership of this was provided by a non-profit, non-government organization. In fact, when the Chief Minister of the state indicated that he would gratefully accept just the money, the head of the trust told him, "No, I will execute the full project and hand over the project to you." The project management saw several innovative features. One of the innovative features was that a public charitable trust took the responsibility for spearheading and managing the project. The state government had a complete responsibility for project planning and design. The central government exempted the project from excise duty, and an associate contractor, Larsen and Toubro, took complete charge of project management. And the signal feature of that was the community played a big role because they gave free access to private property and the workmen round the clock. The result of this was water, a cost was worked out at an average of about rupees 15 per kiloliter, and the supply cost was shared between the state government and the local government by contributing 15%. Post-project, the government appointed a water supply project board to take up the O&M work as the first stage. This board is an autonomous body having full powers to take the decisions and carry out improvements as required. There was excellent stakeholder commitment in this project right through. Everyone, the funder, the government, and the consumer became truly a stakeholder in a public cause. It was truly a case of the sum being greater than its parts. In fact, the 5-year plan document of the Government of India basically said that this project has set an unparalleled example of private initiative in implementing on their own a massive water supply project in India. And the impact of this project was evaluated by a committee by UN Habitat on the request of Asian Development Bank, and they found out that water was supplied regularly throughout the year without any fluctuation. Improvement to community health was achieved, and the furthest household from the public stand post is located 50 meters from a distance. In fact, the Government of India basically establishes safety, surety and sufficiency as guidelines for success of the project. Safety, no contaminants, surety within a walking distance of 1.6 kilometers, sufficiency 40 LPCD. From all accounts, the project fulfills these objectives of safety, surety, and sufficiency. And there has been improved attendance in the schools. People connected with the project basically indicate, there was one report where somebody said earlier they had to walk 4 kilometers to go to fetch water. Now it's available right outside. We can now go to school instead. I now have more time to do other work where I can earn some more money. My mother used to travel 3 to 4 kilometers in the morning and evening to fetch 2 vessels of water. I had to drop out of school in household activities. Now, water is available outside my house, reported another user. My daughter was readmitted to the school after a gap of 2 years. Her mother is a widow and the only earning member of a family. Now she's planning to revive the weaving business which she gave up because she was busy collecting water. Other comments, fluoride water, my tooth problem has vanished. Even their cattle were healthier. Somebody reported, my cattle is healthier now. The household survey basically indicated higher satisfaction, higher income generation, and improved health and sanitation. The project demonstrated strong sustainability, mainly because there was a sense of ownership persisting in the beneficiary community. The partnership and commitment between the 3 people who evaluated this project and conducted this continues in other areas. The statutory board created by the government manages water supply in other areas. The project has created a sustainable model which continues to be replicated elsewhere in the country. It's replicable because this project has been replicated elsewhere in India. That the whole process is replicable is demonstrated by the same trust have successfully completed 4 other water projects. The technology followed in each case may be different, but the same model of public-private cooperation has been established with telling results. The next place we went to was a place called Medak and Mahbubnagar, again 2 districts in Andhra Pradesh, where the project started in 1996-99 and took off in November 2000, covering 320 villages. After they went to the area called Godavari, it was also in Andhra Pradesh state. This included drawing of water from an intake well near the source and laying the pipelines to reach the villages. But the problem here was different. The piping had to pass through some of the densest forests inhabited by radical tribes. As the engineers were conducting the survey, a group of these radical tribes who kill people came upon them and demanded to know under whose authority they were trespassing their land. When they were told that they belonged to the Sathya Sai Trust and they were doing it to evaluate a water supply project which will help them to, they were stupefied to find that somebody even cared for them, bandits living outside the pale of law. From then on, they voluntarily guided and guarded the engineers themselves. What better proof do you want of replicability? When the cause is for a public good, that itself provides motivation for sustain. The project is expected to be completed in May 2006. The next project they went to was in Chennai. Chennai is a busy metropolis in southwestern India. From a small fishing village and a weaving colony at the time of the British East India Company, it has grown to a bustling metropolis of about 8 million people. History of Chennai Water Project, now known as Satya Ganga Water Project, can be traced back to 1968, when 4 governments failed to agree to share waters of a nearby perennial river. What was released from this river could not reach the city due to the bad state of the linking canal that suffered heavy seepage. Citizens of this metropolis continued to ferry water at a phenomenal cost from all over the place to keep the body and soul together. The problem lay unsolved for nearly 15 years. The trust decided to take on the challenge of this problem. Literally walking where angels feared to tread, the engineers examined the problem and found it was much more than widening the slope of the canal, but it was also providing proper lining for the watertight membrane for the canal. You see here in the picture, before the engineers took charge and completed the project, what happened to the canal and what happened subsequently. This project was completed in November 2004. You will thus see Anantapur, Mahbubnagar, Chennai, Godavari. Right from 1994, Unsung, unheard, untold, these projects have been going on quietly in a corner of India. Not only here, it went on elsewhere. This gave other inspired examples. A citizen in Chittor took charge of a private citizen. He mobilized people and started a project. And this came up and completed in about very shortly. And all these projects basically gave rise to the fact that ultimately it is this, the cooperation basically, that succeeded. While it succeeded, it also gave rise to several points to ponder. How did the beneficiary community develop a sense of unity? How did they develop a sense of litigation? Why did people work round the clock? Basically, the project succeeded because it was largely innovative. There was alternate financing available. It was unique. It was sustainable. It was replicable. And it met the Millennium Development Goals. But how it basically happened was because of an effective combination of management and partnership. It's a case of transformational forces providing mission and strategy. There was an inspired leadership producing the right mission, strategy, and commitment. Because the head of this trust often used to say that hands that help are holier than the lips that pray. 2,000 years ago, Sophocles said, "To be doing a good deed is a man's glorious task." So when we are able to use the people and participate in projects like this, we can find all of us can end up as triumphant and become like the same management story or motivation where the stonecutter said that we are all not cutting stone, but building a temple. This particular aspect of the project, the unified, inspired, participant leadership, is worthy of emulation and is perhaps its greatest triumph. Thank you.